Article 305.4 of the 1993 National Electrical Code allows temporary lights to be plugged into a temporary ground fault circuit interrupter receptacle, also known as a spider box. This article states that temporary lighting equipment must be connected to a ground fault circuit interrupter receptacle unless the lighting equipment is designed to be permanently connected. Regarding the use of Romex with cord caps for temporary wiring, it is permissible, but there are some requirements. Firstly, the cord caps must be underwriters' laboratories listed for use with temporary wiring. Secondly, the cord caps must be installed securely and not damaged. Thirdly, the Romex wiring must be properly terminated to the cord cap terminals. Regarding cranes or aerial lifts working near power lines, it is permissible to allow cranes or aerial lifts to work within 10 feet of power lines rated at less than 50 kV if the lines are sleeved with rated hose-type covers and direct contact is avoided. This aligns with Occupational Safety and Health Administration Regulation 29 CFR 1926.550/15. This regulation states that power lines rated at 50 kV or less should be considered energized until proven otherwise and should be worked as energized lines. The information presented here is based on the 1993 National Electrical Code and Occupational Safety and Health Administration Regulations. Always consult the most recent edition of the National Electrical Code and Occupational Safety and Health Administration Regulations for the most up-to-date requirements. It's important to understand the specific requirements for temporary electrical installations to ensure safety. Temporary electrical systems are often used during construction, renovation, or special events. These systems must be installed and maintained properly to prevent electrical hazards such as shocks, fires, and electrocution. Ground fault circuit interrupters are essential safety devices that protect against electrical shock. They monitor the current flowing in a circuit and quickly shut off the power if a ground fault is detected. A ground fault occurs when current flows through an unintended path, such as a person's body. Ground fault circuit interrupters are designed to trip when they detect a small imbalance in current, typically around 5 mA. This rapid response can prevent serious injury or death. When using Romex for temporary wiring, it's crucial to ensure that the cord caps are properly installed and rated for the intended use. The cord cap should be securely attached to the Romex conductors and provide adequate strain relief to prevent the wires from pulling out. Always inspect the cord caps for damage before use and replace them if necessary. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration has specific regulations regarding the operation of cranes and aerial lifts near power lines. These regulations are designed to protect workers from electrocution hazards. It is crucial to maintain a safe distance from power lines and to use appropriate safety measures such as insulated barriers or hose-type covers to prevent direct contact. Power lines should always be considered energized until they have been properly de-energized and grounded. Qualified personnel should perform any work near power lines, and they should use appropriate personal protective equipment such as rubber gloves and sleeves. Always conduct a thorough hazard assessment before beginning any work near power lines. This assessment should identify potential hazards and determine the appropriate safety measures to be implemented. Communication is essential when working near power lines. Ensure that all workers are aware of the hazards and the safety procedures to be followed. Use clear and concise communication to coordinate movements and prevent accidents. Regular inspections of temporary electrical systems are crucial to identify and correct any potential hazards. Inspect wiring, connections, and ground fault circuit interrupters regularly to ensure they are in good working order. Repair or replace any damaged or defective equipment immediately. Proper grounding is essential for electrical safety. Ensure that all electrical equipment is properly grounded to provide a path for fault current to flow back to the source. This helps to prevent electrical shock and reduce the risk of fire. Use appropriately sized conductors for temporary wiring to prevent overheating and voltage drop. Consult the National Electrical Code for conductor sizing requirements. Avoid overloading temporary circuits. Overloaded circuits can cause overheating and increase the risk of fire. Use appropriately sized fuses or circuit breakers to protect temporary circuits from overcurrents. Keep temporary wiring clear of walkways and other areas where it could be damaged or create a tripping hazard. Use cable protectors or other means to protect wiring from physical damage. Provide adequate lighting in temporary work areas to ensure workers can see clearly and avoid hazards. Use temporary lighting fixtures that are designed for outdoor use and are protected from the elements. Ensure that all temporary electrical equipment is properly labeled and identified. This helps to prevent confusion and ensures that the equipment is used correctly. Train workers on the safe use of temporary electrical equipment and the hazards associated with electricity. Provide regular refresher training to ensure workers remain knowledgeable and competent. Follow all applicable safety regulations and standards when working with temporary electrical systems. Consult the National Electrical Code, Occupational Safety and Health Administration regulations, and other relevant standards for specific requirements. Working with electricity can be dangerous, so it is crucial to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others from harm. Always prioritize safety when working with temporary electrical systems. Remember that electricity can be lethal, so it is important to treat it with respect and to follow all safety procedures. If you are not qualified to work with electricity, do not attempt to do so. Seek the assistance of a qualified electrician. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility, so do your part to ensure that temporary electrical systems are installed and maintained safely. By following these guidelines, you can help to prevent electrical accidents and injuries. These guidelines are for informational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or safety professional for specific recommendations regarding your situation. In addition to the specific topics covered, there are several other important considerations for temporary electrical systems. For example, it is important to protect temporary wiring from physical damage. This can be done by using cable protectors, running wiring overhead, or burying it underground. It is also important to ensure that temporary wiring is properly supported and secured. This will prevent it from sagging or becoming entangled. Another important consideration is the weather. Temporary electrical systems should be protected from rain, snow, and other weather conditions. This can be done by using waterproof enclosures, covering wiring with tarps, or providing other forms of protection. It is also important to be aware of the potential for rodents and other pests to damage temporary wiring. These pests can chew through insulation and create electrical hazards. To prevent this, use rodent-resistant wiring or take other measures to protect the wiring from pests. Finally, it is important to have a plan in place for removing the temporary electrical system when it is no longer needed. This plan should include disconnecting the power, removing the wiring, and disposing of any waste materials properly. By following these additional guidelines, you can further enhance the safety of temporary electrical systems. Always remember that safety is the top priority when working with electricity. Do not take shortcuts or compromise on safety to save time or money. The consequences of an electrical accident can be severe, so it is always best to err on the side of caution. Ground fault circuit interrupters are designed to protect people from electric shock. They work by detecting small changes in current flow and quickly shutting off the power if a ground fault is detected. Ground fault circuit interrupters should be installed in all temporary electrical systems, especially in areas where there is a risk of moisture or contact with water. When selecting cord caps for temporary wiring, it is important to choose ones that are rated for the intended use. The cord cap should be able to withstand the voltage and current of the circuit, and they should be resistant to environmental factors such as moisture and sunlight. Always inspect cord caps for damage before use and replace them if necessary. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration regulations regarding cranes and aerial lifts near power lines are designed to protect workers from electrocution hazards. These regulations require that a qualified person conduct a hazard assessment before any work is performed near power lines. The hazard assessment should identify potential hazards and determine the appropriate safety measures to be implemented. Workers should be trained on the hazards of working near power lines and the safety procedures to be followed. Communication is essential when working near power lines. All workers should be aware of the location of the power lines and the safe distances to maintain. Clear and concise communication should be used to coordinate movements and prevent accidents. Power lines should always be considered energized until they have been properly de-energized and grounded. Only qualified personnel should perform work on or near power lines. These personnel should use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as rubber gloves and sleeves. Cranes and aerial lifts should be equipped with proximity alarms that warn the operator when they are approaching power lines. These alarms can help to prevent accidental contact with power lines. In addition to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration regulations, there may be other local or state regulations that apply to work near power lines. It is important to be aware of these regulations and to comply with them. Working near power lines is inherently dangerous, so it is crucial to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself and others from harm. Always prioritize safety when working near power lines. Remember that electricity can be lethal, so it is important to treat it with respect and to follow all safety procedures. If you are not qualified to work near power lines, do not attempt to do so. Seek the assistance of a qualified professional. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility, so do your part to ensure that work near power lines is performed safely. By following these guidelines, you can help to prevent electrical accidents and injuries. These guidelines are for informational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or safety professional for specific recommendations regarding your situation. Temporary power systems often utilize flexible cords and cables. It is crucial to select the appropriate type and size of flexible cord for the intended application. Factors to consider include the voltage and current requirements, the environmental conditions, and the potential for physical damage. Flexible cords should be properly supported and protected from damage. Avoid running flexible cords across walkways or in areas where they could be run over by equipment. Use cable protectors or other means to protect flexible cords from physical damage. Flexible cords should be inspected regularly for damage. Replace any damaged or worn flexible cords immediately. Never splice flexible cords. Splicing flexible cords creates a potential fire hazard and is not permitted by the National Electrical Code. When connecting flexible cords to equipment, use cord connectors that are designed for the purpose. Cord connectors should provide a secure and reliable connection and should protect the cord from strain and damage. Temporary lighting is often used in construction sites and other temporary work areas. Temporary lighting should be installed in accordance with the National Electrical Code. Lighting fixtures should be securely mounted and protected from damage. Use only lighting fixtures that are listed for the intended use. Temporary lighting circuits should be protected by ground fault circuit interrupters. Ground fault circuit interrupters will protect workers from electric shock in the event of a ground fault. Temporary lighting should be inspected regularly for damage. Replace any damaged or worn lighting fixtures immediately. When using portable generators for temporary power, it is important to follow all safety precautions. Portable generators should be located in well-ventilated areas to prevent the buildup of carbon monoxide. Never operate a portable generator indoors or in an enclosed space. Portable generators should be properly grounded. Grounding will help to protect workers from electric shock in the event of a ground fault. Portable generators should be inspected regularly for damage. Repair any damage to a worn generators immediately. When fueling a portable generator, turn off the generator and allow it to cool down before adding fuel. Never add fuel to a portable generator while it is running. Store fuel for portable generators in approved containers. Keep fuel away from heat sparks and open flames. When using temporary heating equipment, it is important to follow all safety precautions. Temporary heating equipment should be located in well-ventilated areas. Never operate temporary heating equipment indoors or in an enclosed space. Temporary heating equipment should be kept away from combustible materials. Keep a fire extinguisher nearby when using temporary heating equipment. Temporary heating equipment should be inspected regularly for damage. Repair any damaged or worn equipment immediately. When using temporary welding equipment, it is important to follow all safety precautions. Welding equipment should be properly grounded. Grounding will help to protect workers from electric shock in the event of a ground fault. Welding equipment should be inspected regularly for damage. Repair any damaged or worn equipment immediately. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment when welding, including a welding helmet, gloves, and protective clothing. Heat combustible materials away from the welding area. Provide adequate ventilation in the welding area. Be aware of the potential for fire when welding. Keep a fire extinguisher nearby. Follow all applicable safety regulations and standards when using temporary electrical systems. Consult the National Electrical Code, Occupational Safety and Health Administration regulations, and other relevant standards for specific requirements. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility, so do your part to ensure that temporary electrical systems are installed and maintained safely. By following these guidelines, you can help to prevent electrical accidents and injuries.